Good morning, everybody. Another episode of the Keep Going podcast, Athlete Shining a Light on Mental Health. As you can tell, I'm on one of my normal spots, the BP gas station out here in McChesney Park, Illinois. Jackie Tripp, where are you coming out of?
Coming out of Plymouth today. Excited to rip this episode with you guys. And then at 11 a.m., going to watch the Wimbledon men's final.
Love that. Wimbledon is going on, which is awesome. I know that's been over the last couple weeks or so. Lil, what's going on, man? How are you?
Good. I also will be watching that, and I would like Carlos Alvarez to win that.
Let's
All
go.
right. Who do you got, Jackie? Alvarez as well?
Alcaraz is my favorite. He's my favorite athlete across the board right now. Yes.
Wow. Okay. High praise. Can you tell me why?
A few summers ago, my family and I were in Maine, and it was a rainy day, and it was the Wimbledon final against him and Novak that lasted like almost 5 hours, and I just fell in love with the way he plays the sport in tennis, and he's great.
No, fantastic. And
So
I got
fun
to
to
jump into
watch.
more tennis. I got to jump into more
Oh, it's
tennis,
great.
apparently.
Have to.
Okay, I'm gonna work on that, guys. I'm gonna work on that. But in all seriousness, Lil, this is one of those situations, man, where like you're a podcaster, right? Like you've been doing episodes way longer than we've been doing episodes, one. And two, you asked to come on, man. So I'm gonna ask you, why did you ask to come on, dude?
Because me and you have been talking back and forth, and been through a lot the last few years, and it's just kind of nice to. I've been putting it out on like Facebook, Instagram, and stuff like that. But it's nice to get in. Our podcast is more like just talk about Chicago sports, stuff like that. We don't get too much into the mental health of it, but I wanted to come on and kind of talk about my stuff.
Yeah, definitely something that's near and dear to you, huh, man? Like over the last couple of years, there's been a lot of growth. There's been ups and downs and a lot of growth.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about, first and foremost, I have to shout your podcast out. Talk about your podcast, how you got started. Shout everybody out.
Me and Boomy, and then there was our buddy Gamer, and then Matt Schoolfield, who we've been doing it together for like. I saw a picture. We did our first. Me and Chance did our first podcast in 2018 in my parents' living room on a computer with just like we had one of those little microphones that you put on the computer, and we sat it in the middle of us, and we just kind of talked it through, and we've been doing it ever since. We started on SoundCloud.
Yeah, I got to ask you, man. Obviously, that's over 5 years of podcasting. Favorite episode, favorite person you've had on? Talk about that.
So we had Ian Happ on one time.
The guy, I love him. I've worked cans with Ian. It's great.
Yeah, we have a little bit of a we have a little bit of a relationship with Connect Roasters, which is a coffee company that he works through. And we had Caleb on, who is the owner of the company, and then we had Ian on, and yeah, that was really cool. It was just like kind of crazy to think of a guy we watch every day play baseball, look up to, and he came on our podcast, gave us the time of day.
Yeah, no, I think that's fantastic. And knowing Ian, working camps with him, one, he's a house. Like he's a shorter guy, but he's a house. So he's like gotta be 5'11, like 215, 220. Great player, obviously, with the Cubbies. And second thing, hats off to you, man. Anytime that you can shoot podcast episodes for 5 years and still have content with Chicago sports, that's kudos to you, man. Talk about more the mental health side, though. Have you guys dug into it at all? Like,
not really at all, because I try not to push it too much on like that podcast and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been about, so it'll be September will be 2 years without alcohol, and coming up on 7 months of no smoking. And it's just one of those things. It's everything that I kind of like try to push it away with. I've been dealing with mental health pretty much my whole life. And it's been one of those things where I really use those things as a crutch. And I'm not saying everyone needs to go out and give up everything like that. But when you figure out that you're kind of pushing it away for a reason that isn't healthy, you kind of got to figure it out. And unfortunately, I'm 30 years old. It took me 10 years to figure it out. But it's not easy.
I'm going to ask you something a little bit deeper because, this is going to be a real one today. I can already tell. Do you feel like during this time, as you got sober, as you moved away from some of these crutches and vices, do you feel like people kind of walked out of your life and there was people that stayed that were worth it? Talk to me about that.
Honestly, I think more people stayed in my life. Honestly, I thought the same thing when I quit drinking. I go, oh, I'm not going to go out with the buddies to the bar. Not going to go out to the golf course and drink and stuff like that. But I think the way that I acted and the way that I was when I was doing that stuff was kind of pushing people away. In a way, I had still friends that were still around, but I think it's more they actually stuck around more and wanted to hang out with me more when I was actually not just being an idiot.
Yeah. And Z, obviously we've drank before, right? Like we've gone out and partied. Like, it's funny though, when some of that stuff kind of goes out the window, you find out who your friends are.
Oh yeah.
You really do. You find out who's meant to be here in the long run. I laugh all the time. Like, Jackie's on with me every week now, and Dave's on with me. And like, our relationship has substance based on, I don't know, the work that we've put into it, not a Friday night social event where I'm drinking. Go ahead, Jackie. I see you coming off.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, kudos to you. That's amazing. I have people in my life that have gone sober. My dad's almost 6 years sober now, and I guess with him and anyone I've noticed that's gone sober, you start to like unpeel these layers of yourself that you realize you're using alcohol and other vices to sort of mask it with. I guess my question, because I like this topic, is one, was there like a rock bottom that made you want to stop drinking? And two, what have been the best positive changes in your life since doing so?
Yeah, I'd say the rock bottom was just, I mean, going home and not remembering stuff and just not having fun. I guess I was having fun per se, but it was one of those things. I was just, I would say I have an addictive personality. So I couldn't just go out and be like, oh, I'm going to have a few beers and stuff like that. I would go out and drink until you can't remember stuff. And that just wasn't fun anymore. And then when I quit drinking, I thought, oh, I'll just keep doing the other stuff, which was smoking. And that also had its vices of not helping with mental health and not letting, I would say, like some of the stuff I was trying to do for mental health work. And the best part about not doing it is when I wake up in the morning and I feel great. I can be of help to people when, like I say, I go to a wedding or stuff like that. I'm the person that can drive and stuff like that, and kind of getting back to people that helped me when I was kind of being a little bit of a crazy idiot.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite thing. Zach, obviously, man, if you follow this podcast and kind of my journey as well, dude, I was a drink till failure guy.
Oh yeah.
For a long time.
Drink till the lights go out.
Dude, every time. Like, I didn't remember Friday through Sunday for the last 5 years up until 25. And I think looking back at that now, you hit the nail on the head. Being able to be that driver, be there for your parents, your buddies, have these mental health conversations, be able to have this podcast. I've talked about on this podcast too. Waking up Sunday morning at 7 a.m. to shoot this podcast probably changed my life.
Yeah.
Because I knew if I was coming on here hungover, I was not only letting down my team, but I was letting down the hundreds and thousands of people that watch this podcast. I don't know. I relate to this really hard, and I want to go a step further. Now you're on this weight loss journey.
Yeah.
And I feel like that gets lost in all this because of the booze and the smoking and all the other stuff. Talk about the weight loss journey. That hits home for me too.
Well, at first I was losing it, not in the greatest way, because when they always say when you quit, drinking would be harder. It definitely was harder to quit the smoking. It was a lot of no appetite, didn't want to do anything, didn't want to eat, didn't want to just go out and do anything. And they kind of made my mental health worse for just a month or two. But then once I got it back together and you got the appetite back and I started to work more and stuff like that, it's really been the not eating a bunch of stuff at one time, which other stuff would make you do. And just kind of watching yourself and being more active, not just being lazy, laying around, There's times to be, I like laying around still. I'm not saying that, but it's sometimes that stuff just kind of puts you in a bad spot. And you look back at, like, I looked at pictures from my cousin's wedding, Trey, and I mean, it's like a totally different person.
Yeah.
And the other fact was I was in a bad place health wise. In January, before I quit, I went to the doctor, and it was, I mean, blood pressure was high, all that kind of stuff. Weight was up. And then I quickly lost weight, which was just kind of from not really eating much and stuff like that. But that helped a lot. Just being more active. And then once I kind of got through all the, you would say, all through the I would say withdrawal symptoms, unfortunately, then that's when it got really good. And then it's been about, I mean, every day you have your battles, but lately it's been nice just to be clear headed. You go home when you need to go home. You don't go home 3 hours after you should go home. And just I talk to people more now, and they go, man, you talk to me actually at events. You're not in just la la land and stuff like that. And you're fun to be around. And like you were saying about people going away, it's actually more people have gotten to be better friends with people.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass it to Jackie to talk about 75 hard. She's went through that this calendar year. I had someone come up to me, Zach, I laugh, and say, I've known you for 3 years. I've never seen you sober before.
Yeah. I mean,
those are really crippling and humbling conversations, huh?
Yeah. I mean, even after I would quit smoking, I quit drinking, there was still the smoking, and that's even more puts you in la la land. And it seemed like people were like, I haven't been able to have a conversation with you in 2 years. Either you just walk away or you're not in the conversation. And yeah, it's some of it's tough at first when people are very truthful about stuff. Yeah. And it honestly, in a way, it helps though, because I'm the type of person, I can take criticism. It actually helps me more when you get that kind of stuff. But even stuff like my grandma, she'll be like, man, you look like a totally different person. And I'm like, okay, thanks for that. I mean, makes you feel good in a way, but also like, how big was I? But yeah, it's a lot of that is people are very truthful about it, because I'm actually able to have a conversation.
I'm doing it for you. Go ahead, Jackie.
Yeah, and I think people will go with you too, because I did the 75 hard from mid-January to up until the end of March, and I worried like the same way you said, Zach, like, oh, how am I going to see my friends if I'm not going out, or if I'm not drinking? Like, I could go to eat, but I'm not going to be at the bars, whatever, which my friends don't do a ton of, but I remember that being the main worry. And I ended up having some of the best conversations with my friends over those few months. I ended up growing my friendships over those few months, because I've talked about this before, the first few weeks I was walking by myself. I was going to the gym by myself. And then people come with you and they trickle along, because they're like, all right, well, this makes me feel good too. And they noticed that I was being a better version of me. So they wanted to spend that time with me. And I had this thought on my run yesterday, and you talking about all this made me think of it. There's a phrase, and it goes, a healthy person wants many things, and an unhealthy person only wants one thing. When you're drinking all the time, or you're not taking care of yourself, you just want to feel good. But when you take care of yourself enough to the point where you do feel good, it opens up the door to do all these things, which it seems like you're putting yourself in a position to do, which is great. So I'm proud of you for that.
Thank you.
I agree.
Yeah, it was one of those things at first you try to almost stay around a little too long. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go hang out with some people. I'm gonna stay out like I used to, but I'm not gonna drink. But then you kind of start going, you know what? I can just go home. I can go home whenever I want. It's not like, really and truthfully, people can judge you. It doesn't really matter. If they judge you, then they're not really your friends, and they don't really care about you. And I've really noticed that too. Like, people aren't, I'll be like, yeah, I'm getting out of here. And everyone's like, oh yeah, good for you. And then people aren't just like, oh yeah, stick around. You need to do this or that. Like I said, you go home when you need to go home. You don't go home 2 or 3 hours after you probably should go home.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of my thing was, I would go home probably 3 to 4 hours after I should have gone home. and that's when you get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, and then it lingers too. Like then the next day you're like you have that guilt, and then you start your week off bad, and then it just happens and it continues to happen.
Like hangover anxiety is a real thing, and stuff like that. And I mean, I dealt with anxiety my whole life, and on top of that, it doesn't help anything when you mix that all together.
I agree. And all this, Zach, so good, like so good for our audience and following to hear this. What was the keep going moment in all this?
It was probably, honestly, I mean, I said I've quit drinking 2 years ago almost, but honestly, it was probably about 2-3 months ago. When I was kind of struggling with the quitting the other stuff, and my parents really helped me through a lot of it. Without them, honestly, I don't know what I would have done through the whole thing. My parents, my sister, my cousins, my cousin Chance, especially. I mean, they really pushed me through spots that I didn't think I was going to get through. And now on the other side of it, it's just like, it's nice to be able to come on stuff like this and talk about it when you're on the other side of stuff, because when you're in the middle of it, you don't want to even hear what people had to say. You don't think that that anything's going to help. And like this podcast, I would have liked to listen to a few months ago, but it was one of those things that a spot where I wasn't in a spot to listen to anybody. You thought, if I'm not going to do that or this, like you kind of fall into a spot where you almost get mad at the world, thinking that there's no, like, I would say, light at the end of the tunnel. But then when you find it, you want to kind of help people get there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go into rapid fire questions here, but I have to stay there for a second. I always say the quote, a blessing is not a blessing if it's at the wrong time. And it's real. Like, if you have someone, you could have Michael Jordan walk up to you, Z, and be like, hey, dude, stop drinking, stop smoking. You'd be like, shut the fuck up, MJ. Excuse my language. You know, but you're in that mindset. You're in that mode where it's like, no, like, I got it. I'll figure it out. I've always figured it out. I think that's big to be like, you know what? I got to the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm living now. I'm doubling down. I'm making up for lost time. Go ahead, Jackie.
And it serves as a reminder too to like just love people for where they're at, because I've been up at a point in my life where I didn't want to listen to anybody that said I should take a deep breath or get off my phone or go outside. You got to meet people where they are, because if somebody's judging you for being on a mental health podcast or being sober, going home early, that just speaks about where they're at and how they feel about themselves. So you kind of just got to almost barter with them and meet them where they are and support them where they are and know that they'll get to where they need to be when the timing's right, like Pat said.
Yeah. A lot of it's been like the last 10 years or so has been, I want to go out and hang out because I think that's what people want me to do. Or I want to go out because if I don't go out, they're going to think I'm lame for not going out to drink tonight. But once you get to this spot, it's kind of, you kind of stop caring in a way, not in a bad way, but in a way where it's like, you know what, if you want to say something about me, I really don't care. I'm going to go home, hang out, and I'm going to wake up and be perfectly fine tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Just a different season. Go ahead.
I think Pat's a good example of that too. When we were talking last time I was with Pat, he said something along the lines, Pat, of like, all I have is time and I'm just going to go at my own speed. And I think Pat's a good example of that. You know, you start to find the Pats of the world. Like when I got into this space and I started having these conversations more, like I said, people started to come with, and then I attracted people like Pat, and I'm able to have conversations like this, but you start to don't care because you value your time and your health and the pace that you're at.
Yeah, because at first when you kept thinking about the past and, man, I shouldn't have done this, and man, I should have done this earlier. And then my dad kind of sat me down and was like, you got to just think about the now. You can't worry about anything that's happened. You can only fix what the future is. And that really kind of helped me out, thinking, you know what? Everyone's done stupid stuff in their past. You can't go back and not drink this and that. And you can only worry about what you're going to do now instead of what you're going to do. And like, I kind of have a story from just the other day. I had some buddies over and they left. They didn't do it on purpose or anything, but they just left a few beers right here. And at first I put it in my fridge and I kind of got thinking, I'm just going to put these in there. It's not a big deal. And one of those things, the next day I had to get rid of them because it's just one of those things it's not like I'm going to go in and drink them or anything, but I don't like stuff being around me like that anymore. And I don't care if I'm around somebody drinking at a bar or something, but in my house, I like to control what I can control.
Yes, man. I love that. And that's such a good piece for our listeners too. You got to get the crap out of there.
Yeah.
You got to get the clutter out of there.
Yeah. I'm not saying that I'm like, oh, I got to drink that, but I don't need it here and I don't need it in my house. And I don't need that even thought to be there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I usually go to Dave at this part and I do like a David Mitchell's mailbag. We kind of fire questions at you here. I'm going to go 2-minute drill with Jackie Tripp here. I'm going to have her ask you some questions if you don't mind, Zeke.
That's fine.
Go ahead, Jackie.
Put me on the spot. I got to think. All right, I'll ask you a few fun ones first. Sports wise, I mean, I'm out of Boston, so we could go back and forth all day. What made you want to start the podcast? Was there a team you followed that made you fall in love with sports, or a player, or like anything?
It really wasn't even sports. It was there's a podcast called Part of My Take that Barstool does, and I listened to that all the time. And I got talking to my cousin, and I'm like, oh man, we should try doing a podcast. And we tried it a few times, and a few of the first ones didn't work out too well because we just didn't know what we were doing. And then when we finally figured it out, we put it out on SoundCloud and stuff like that. It was just a way to like get away from work and get away from the everyday hustle and bustle, I guess you'd say. It was nice to be able to hang out with my cousin for fun. We didn't just have to used to hang out and do stuff. And I've always been a big Cubs fan, Bulls fan, Blackhawks fan, Bears, unfortunately. But yeah, I've always loved sports. I've played sports my whole life, and it was just nice to have an avenue to talk about them.
Yeah, sports bring people together. I always say, my sister always says too, she works in sports, like you're missing out on great conversations with strangers.
Like in high school, I played soccer because I went to a very small school, under 100 people in the whole high school itself. So I played soccer, which I probably wouldn't have played if I didn't go to where I went to school. And it's one of those sports that you learn a lot playing soccer. Everyone always says, oh, there's football, this and that, which I like football, but I'm happy that I got to play something a little different.
Yeah. It's a world sport, they say.
Yeah. It's a tough sport too. I mean, it gets you in shape. It's not easy. And kind of from where I'm from, it was a big deal because no one had football. The schools I played against really didn't have football teams, especially in my conference. So it was a big deal.
Yeah. All right. To tie into that, do you have a favorite sports documentary? Besides The Last Dance, if that's your answer.
No, it's a weird one. It's not really a documentary per se. When I was younger, I probably shouldn't have watched it at the age I was. But have you ever seen the movie 61?
No, I've not.
It's the one with Roger Maris, and he's on it's when he was breaking Babe Ruth's single season record.
I know of it. I have not seen it.
He went through like a very tough battle with I come to find out it's like mental health and kind of losing his hair, and it was very stressful for him. And it was one of those movies that I kind of related to my whole life because I like sports, but it gave me a little bit of anxiety because you didn't want to fail at it. And that's one of my favorite movies. And yeah, Last Chance is good. I like I've always watched the 30 for 30s. Those are good. But I love sports. That's pretty much all I watch.
Yeah, anything that can, like you said, tie into a life lesson. Sports does that some way, shape, or form. I definitely had a lot of performance anxiety when I was playing hoops, but it's nice and refreshing to watch these documentaries and realize that the people that do this at the highest level also experience that too. So it brings you back, which is nice.
But yeah, you kind of sports anxiety was bad, but it also made you realize that you cared. And sometimes you think back that you do anything and go back and have that anxiety.
Yeah, 1,000%. I'm like, I say that to myself when I was on my run the other day and I thought I was going to drown in the river I was running next to. I was like, I want to remember how this feels. Like, I want to remember how, like, this pain, and then I'm wheezing because, again, it's going to go away. And that's part of it, is the anxiety and the pain that sometimes comes with sports and doing
It's like soccer. Every year soccer started right after summer break. So you really didn't do much in the summer. You did as much as you could. I played like AAU basketball and stuff like that because we really didn't have summer sports. And that first week of soccer was awful. You'd be running miles and
brutal.
Yeah, you weren't used to it, and it's just awful. But that's the kind of stuff that you miss in a way.
Yeah, I always tell players, young players, like, you get told it a million times when you're in high school, middle school, like, remember these years, don't take them for granted, but like, and you don't want to listen at the time, but it's so true.
Yeah.
I guess to end the episode, I think Pat had to head into lessons, but if there's anything you did not mention today or anything you want to leave me or the guests with, that we didn't get to cover today, anything on the top of your head you can think of?
I would just always say, you don't got to give up. You're never too far along to figure it out. It took me a long time, and even took me a year and a half of no drinking to really figure it out. Unfortunately, it doesn't just happen in a day, which you want everything to work out quickly, especially when it's kind of hurting your mental health and stuff like that. But you got to realize that there's a lot more to everything, and you got to think about the other people in your life, not just yourself. You kind of think about, I got nephews and stuff like that, and just never. I know it's a cliche, but never give up. Don't give up on anything, and don't let the negative thoughts win. Don't let them beat you up, because everyone's gonna have it. I mean, I'll wake up in the morning and have anxiety and stuff like that, and I've learned that you got to go with it. You're not going to just get rid of it all at one time. So it's almost like you just I always say, you always win the battle. Always keep the good fight. You don't give up.
I love that. And I think sobriety is the highest form of showing up every day, because people that work out, you show up every day. You train for a marathon, you show up every day. But sobriety every day for the rest of your life is a battle. Like, you don't get sober on day one. It's not that just a week or two of practice and then you stick with it. Like, sobriety is a daily battle that you wake up and you face every day. Like, the people that I talk to that are 6, 7, 8, 20 years sober, like, I think that is like the highest form of wellness and showing up for yourself. So I'm proud of you for doing that for 2 years and in 7 months with the smoking. And I hope that you continue to do so, and you continue to put yourself in a place to do so, which it definitely seems like you've been doing for yourself. So good on
I'd
you.
say,
thanks for sharing it too.
Oh, and I'd just say, I mean, sobriety isn't also make you perfect either.
Yeah.
It doesn't go just because you give up this and that, you're fixed. You're good. I'm still working every day to be a better person. And I thought, oh, I'll quit drinking, I'll be good. And that doesn't mean anything really. I mean, it means a lot. It means a lot, but it also, you have to do stuff other than, you can't just quit drinking. You got to work on yourself, go to therapy, and always just don't be afraid to tell people stuff. That's kind of what I put it out on Facebook, Instagram, and I don't put it out to be like, oh, look at me, I'm this great person. I like to put it out because I'm just some normal guy, and just try to tell people that you can do it too. It's not like it takes a superhero to do it. It just takes a normal person that wants to do it.
Yeah, and Zach Gale from Me to We that we work with went on a podcast last week and just said, keep living your story and doing your story, because that could become someone else's survival guide. Like, you never know who actually themselves might be struggling. So it is important to normalize the conversation and talk about it. And I like that you said that that's not the fix, because like, my dad got sober, but then he had to go to therapy, and then he had to fix relationships. It's just peeling off that Band-Aid and then doing the work that comes with it.
Unfortunately, it's an everyday battle. It's not like it's a quick fix. It's a fight that you're always going to fight. But once you get rid of some of the bad stuff, it's a little bit of an easier fight. And then You got to work on yourself. And I've had people come up to me. I'll be at a wedding and everyone will be drinking and stuff. And people come up to me and just be like, man, I'm so proud of you for not drinking. And it means a lot, but it also, it's just nice that people can tell that, like, I know I put it out there and stuff, but people can tell I'm outside talking to people. I mean, everyone can have fun. There's no reason not to have fun.
Yeah.
But there's difference between fun and maybe being a little obnoxious.
Yeah. And some people can have that happy medium and some people can't, and that's okay. But
yeah,
it's
like I said, addictive personalities. Addictive personality is my problem. And there's people who can go out, have one drink and be good and just go home and hang out. And unfortunately, I'm not that type of person. And it took me a long time to figure that out. But I'm working on it.
Yeah. Good on you. That's amazing. I don't know if Pat, do we have you? I think
he's gone. So
yeah, I think he's gone. So all right. Well,
but yeah, I also want to say shout out to you guys. Thanks for having me on. And Pat, like I said, oh, there he is.
I'm here, baby.
I remember back in the day, we did have some fun at Rockford, and I'm not saying you can't. Everyone's gonna go through life and stuff like that, and maybe have a little too much fun. But at some point, unfortunately, we all got to grow up, and you don't got to stop having fun and hanging out just because you're not drinking anymore, doing whatever.
Z, I'm with you, and I'll wrap us up. Obviously, I'm jumping into a hitting lesson right now, and what I will tell you is I'm super proud of who you are.
Thank you.
I love who you are. I've always loved the person you are, Trey, all those guys. But when we get you guys together, sober, being the good people you are, man, it's easier to see. And I feel the same way about myself and a lot of people that have come on this pod. So just know, dude, as time goes on, I always got your back. If you need anything, let me know. And thank you for taking time out of your Sunday, man. We appreciate it.
Like I said, if anyone ever needs anything, let me know, because I don't got the quick fix, but I do know I've been through a lot. So
amen, brother. Well, keep going. Jackie, thank you for leading the way. And we love you guys. Have a good rest of your Sunday.
Have a good one.
Thank you,
everybody.